Well, can we touch on this topic? I want to touch on.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Here we go. Okay, I played Proteus the other day, and for anyone listening who doesn't know what it is, I'll try and describe.
For those of you who are under a rock right now.
No, anyway, you walk. Basically, that's the point of the game. You walk.
So it's Skyrim.
No, okay, like.
No, I know what it is. I know what it is.
It's purely exploration. Like, you can't interact with basically anything, and as you walk, you know, everything looks like an acid trip. What is it? 8-bit looking? I don't know.
It's like a very flat palette. I'm choking on a chip. Crap.
Yeah, it looks.
Hold on.
It's pretty, but old school. I don't know. I mean, it brings
not Kyle's manliest moment on the show.
It brings Minecraft to mind, I guess. You know, when you look at it, you sort of think of the same. You know,
it's
like retro gaming.
And there's like all the polygons just really smooth, and everything's very flat colored. Very minimalistic, I guess.
Yeah, and you know, bright colors, all that nonsense. But as you walk around, basically, music plays corresponding to the things around you. Then I don't mean to say music like. It doesn't sound like a backing track, like say Skyrim. You know, every once in a while a big orchestral score will come up and then go away.
Yeah, check that out.
This game is actually based on the music. Like, as you walk around, the music is changing and, you know, evolving or whatever around you. So say I see like a little pixelated frog and I walk up to it, it'll jump away from me, and as it jumps, there's like a sound effect that kind of contributes to the overall. Yeah, and
I heard that.
So basically,
then,
go ahead.
Yeah, like I noticed. I was watching some videos of it earlier, and like when I came across like the graveyard or whatever it is, there's kind of like I don't know, like a darkish ambient noise in the background.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Not like a haunting sound, but you know, just light, airy music.
Yeah. And but you get what I mean, that it doesn't actually sound like a track started and stopped. It just sounds like
not at all.
It's all continuous and okay. So that's more or less the point of the game. You know, what you do find is there's rock circles that you go into the center of, and it'll change the season. That's, if there is a point, it's to find all, you know, 4 of those and change the season 4 times. And apparently that unlocks some bonus features, but you know, for all intents and purposes, there is no real point. There is no real point to the game. You know, it's oh god, running would be useful. So you know, you get into the game for the purpose of just, I don't know, enjoying the atmosphere, whatever. And a lot of people are on the internet complaining about how it's not actually a game and shouldn't be called a game. And personally, I think that's bullshit. But I'd like to sort of get your opinions on what it is that makes that a game, makes that not a game in comparison to other stuff.
What I'm curious about is why it's this game specifically that sparked this debate, because like
and that's a good point.
That's what
all sorts of games are like, you know, they
Journey, Dear Esther,
like Dear Esther and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, there's all these games that some of them are hits, some of them like people love, some of them people hate, and like this discussion's come up before for other games, but it hasn't been on this scale before.
This
seems like a really divisive game.
I don't know. The other games you mentioned have an end, though, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
The story, the narrative, whatever, comes to an end. Well, this doesn't really have that. You can just play it infinitely and indefinitely. There's no real... And I guess that could be what a lot of people are complaining about. You know, there's no Steam achievements, no nothing like that. Yeah. It's just... There you go.
Which is why I personally am on the stance that it's not a game.
I was reading an article the other day. I was reading an article the other day on this topic, and I kind of mentioned this earlier. Is that like the term we use, video games, is relative to the medium as a whole, like archaic at this point. Like, it came around, like, you know, video games, Pac-Man, Tetris, things like that, things that were actual games, and it's kind of evolved into, I mean, it's elongated, like interactive storytelling, maybe.
Exactly. You know? It's a form of media that encompasses a lot of different stuff now.
So the video games, although it's the term we use and it's the term that's come to represent all of this, is no longer really fitting and descriptive of what it is. And the article I was reading was kind of getting into how a lot of people, especially older people, are kept out of video games because of the word game. Whereas, like, where someone like, say, my father would probably really enjoy the Walking Dead game. But, you know, he's not going to play it because it's a game.
Exactly. Yeah, I see what you're getting at. I mean, I was thinking about what I would define it as, and I thought, in any interactive form of storytelling or media or whatever. Then I thought, if someone gave me a DVD with the same exact features as The Walking Dead, or say they started making movies where you could actually change the plot as it progressed. They gave you options as to what happens next. I don't know that I would. Yeah, but with actual actors who acted out your choices. Right. I don't know that I would consider that a game or not. I don't
do
know
that on YouTube a lot, actually. Like CastMG and them do that kind of shit. Where you pick one choice and it goes to a different video.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually really cool. But I don't know. I wouldn't consider that a game. I don't think. I think to me, it has to at least not be real actors. It has to be, CG, whatever you would call it. Yes, a CG type situation.
Even if they get the skeletons from real actors and the animations, things like that, because they do.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Resident Evil 1? They have live action.
What?
For the cutscenes, at least.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't really count. Cutscenes are one thing. I think what it has to do, and this is probably the whole point I want to make, is it's about suspension of disbelief. Like when you're seeing real people, I think there's that. You're sort of grounded to some degree in reality to it. You look at,
you're within the fantasy and you see real things and it breaks you out of it.
Yeah, exactly. And but when you're within like a game that I don't care if it's cell shaded, whatever. Like you're looking at that, and that to you, whatever goes on within that reality is okay because it's not in your reality. So any physics bending, whatever the hell goes on, is okay. And I think. I mean, this might be getting a little bit off topic, but to me, that's what a game is a complete suspension of reality. It's escapism, for sure.
Yeah.
And I just think.
Then how would you differentiate that from, like, say, movies? Just the fact that it's interactive? In some ways. I think it's the combination of it being interactive, it not being real people. It being a medium that I can immediately look at and. I associate it with, okay, this is a game. So what a lot of people are calling this Proteus is like interactive art and all that kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, would I go to like an art showing and play Proteus and consider it art? No. I can't really imagine, going to an art gallery and playing games.
Exactly.
I'm totally on the whole games are outside of that debate, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Everyone's talking games can be an art form and all that makes sense to me. But at the same time, game is also a game, and it's not something I'm going to get all pretentious about.
Mm-hmm. After you just talked about
a game like Proteus, it is pretentious though. Like, I can accept that. That's fine.
I'm not even defending Proteus. Like, to be honest, this is a waste of money, and it's getting rave reviews from some people and absolute hate from others. I don't think it deserves either. I think it's you can be basically indifferent about it. I mean, it's a game.
Because it's not a game, so who cares?
I still would call it a game, though.
No, okay. Here's why I would not call it a game. Mm-hmm. I played games that are kind of like this, cell shade. There's this one game on PS3 made by the guy who made the Katamari games. I forgot what the name of the game. It was something boy, like Stretch Boy. So you're like this weird character where he's like a worm, and you control each end of his body with the different analog sticks. And that was the only controls the game had. That, and you can choose the ground down. And the whole point of the game is you have this environment, like there'll be people in it, obstacles, and you have to just stretch out your body as much as you can. And that's all you do. Like, it's just you stretch out. You can play as long as you want for hours and hours, and the game would not end.
It's called Nobi Boy.
Yeah, that's what it was. I played the shit out of that game, and that was a game because even though it was like this, you had an objective of some sort. There was an objective.
But did it end?
Yeah, it could. Like everyone was trying to What happens is your length was recorded at the end of each play session, and it would be uploaded to the main server. And what you're doing, everyone's scores from around the world combines and adds length onto Nobi Girl, I guess her name is, or whatever, the female equivalent. And you're trying to you're stretching her from Earth to the moon and beyond and stuff. And the whole point is to reach Pluto or the stars or something like that. I don't know. So there was an objective, however vague and weird and fucked up. There was one there. It wasn't just here's a place. Walk around. That's a tech demo. That's not a game.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's similar to Dear Esther then, and Dear Esther got pretty good reviews.
Dear Esther told a story.
Yeah, that's
So
what
it
I was
does
gonna
not
say.
make it a game.
That's
However,
that's the point I want to make. Is that Dear Esther had a direct narrative, like it was telling you a story as you played it, and you kind of figured it out piece by piece as you went along. Whereas Proteus kind of indirectly tells you the story. It through the music, through the world you're seeing, it relies on your creativity, kind of in the same way Minecraft does, to kind of create the world for yourself.
so you're implying that Proteus does have a message or theme of some sort?
Yeah.
It has, at the very least, atmosphere to it. And
That's not the same thing. Like, okay, you played it too, Wilson. Would you agree with Kyle about that?
if it has a narrative, I don't know what it is.
I don't think.
Like,
I don't think. Again,
trees are pretty.
I don't think it has a narrative. It's indirectly, I don't know, prompting you through various clues and sounds in the game to explore the world, to wonder what something is, why it's there, and essentially
I'll give you that
in your head.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's in that what you just said. Creating the world in your head is a big thing. Like one of my favorite parts of Mass Effect was actually nothing to do with the game itself or anything that was going on, but the vistas. Sometimes you'd go out, you'd look through a window, and you'd see just the city, like the space station or whatever, out in the distance, and you had absolutely no impact on what was going on there. But it had you sort of imagining that you were in a working, you know, reality, a universe or whatever, all its own, a self-contained thing, and that your story was not the only one going on there. If that makes any sense. It might not, because apparently there's all this silence.
No, I can get that.
I think that's a big point in games that a lot of them nail, and then some of the best ones to me are that. And Proteus does that, you know, like you don't really get what your point in the world is because you're not like any kind of hero. You're just a guy who happens to be in this world that they created.
You're a floating camera.
Yeah. Well, that's probably all you are. You could be a ghost. Ooh, you can make all kinds of shit up, but
no, you can't, because that's not something good. You're a floating camera that you're controlling.
Who said it's a camera?
You're a floating fucking camera. That's all you are.
I'm feeling a lot of hate from you about this, Shay, but
it's not a game. Like you can call it, you can like it, you can call it whatever you want to, but it's not a game.
But what would you call it if you don't call it a game? What would you call it?
A 3D environment that some guy put a camera in and you control it with your keys. That's
okay, what's that?
It's nothing pretentious or anything.
That's okay as a working title, but you gotta shorten that up for press. I mean,
why? That's what it is. It's not a finished product.
Oh, but that's all they wanted to do. So I mean, it's finished by their standards.
I don't give a fuck. If I say I'm going to write a song and then I strum my guitar once, I can't say, okay, here's my song. You can't say it's not a song. It's my fucking song.
Who can?
That's what this guy is doing. He's like, hey, look, here's some 3D trees and some sounds. I mean, I'm sure it's a cool experience. Like, I played the game Flower on PS3 and I loved it, but it was a game that you had at least some sort of objective with.
There's a mechanic in it.
Yeah, there was something to do with it.
I think,
and I think games like Flower and Dear Esther are like the borderline of it. Like, you cannot go beyond that. And Proteus is way out there. It's an outlier.
What would you call The Walking Dead?
I mean, we talked about it. Walking Dead is definitely, it's a game of some sort. Like, interactive part may be extremely light, but it's a casual game.
In fact, I'd say the interactive parts of The Walking Dead could have, in a lot of cases, been omitted. Like things like having to, there's a scene where you're burying, I won't say much because Zero's there, but you're burying something, and they actually make you click each shovel full of dirt that you put into this. That's like the microwave hallway scene in Metal Gear Solid.
I think the reason they do things like that to you in The Walking Dead, and that little bit of interactivity, is kind of why people find it so powerful and so sad and things like that. Because
interactivity is one thing, but that to me is like, oh, they were trying to be able to defend against people like the ones who are attacking Proteus. They're trying to be able to, well, you click, it is a game, guys, you know. And I think they could have left it out and I'd have felt more involved in the game. I mean, like, I didn't want to click shovels of dirt. That's not a game mechanic. That was just a nuisance that interrupted the actual story.
Yeah, that's why I think like it's extremely borderline. It's more like an interactive movie or interactive TV show. Like I said interactive TV show the first time. Not bad.
But I still feel like that if anything, you give it a subheading, but it all falls under the broader category of the game.
No, I don't think so.
I think that we using the phrase video game is just incorrect. Like, it's not really a game anymore. And
okay, so taking that into account,
aren't.
we can agree that Proteus is something else then, right?
It's not a game in the traditional sense, but it is a video game.
Oh, that was a very diplomatic answer there.
It's a video something. It's a video something. Okay, no. For example, Killzone 2 came out back in the day, and there's all this hoopla about like, there's no way this is in-game footage because console retards argue about that kind of bullshit, and they're all like in their dark ages of gaming. They don't fucking know it.
Lead us forward, gaming.
We love you. We love you. Any console players?
No, we're
who
the
might happen
PC
to be
master race, and
fans.
we don't care about GPMs. So anyway, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Killzone 2. So they're like, all right, here's
bigotry.
So they released this in-engine commercial for Killzone 2. That got no playtime because Sony's marketing department is awful when it comes to their games.
They really are.
They just fired like 90% of them.
Famously just terrible. Like they're known for being awful a bit.
What was that quote I had earlier today, Wilson?
Yeah, that was a wonderful quote.
It was an article on Giant Bomb. The quote was, "Sony can literally invent a way to sell burritos digitally through your console into your living room, and I still think they'd have a hard time figuring out how to properly market it to people."
It's awesome. That's so true.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. It's so true. Like, here we go. Okay.
Okay. Let me finish that real quick.
None of this is actually related directly to Proteus because I just looked at my Facebook and our friend Chad, he's linked Proteus to some of his friends, and one of his friends just responded with, "I don't get it. How is this a game? It's a bunch of landscapes." So it's actually it's a lot of polarized opinions on this thing.
So anyway, then they released that commercial, and then they released a download on the PlayStation Network for free, where you could download the interactive commercial. And basically, with this commercial, you can manipulate time forward and backwards between the scripted animation, and you could also go into free mode and explore the scene at your leisure. You could change post-processing filters while it was running through the game. You could slow it down, speed it up, do all sorts of other simulation crap with it. So they're just proving that this is the technology we have that we're doing. Whatever. And, that game, I'm not sorry, I said the word game. That commercial had like 6 times interactivity that Proteus appeared to have in the time that you showed me it, at least, and when I looked at it on YouTube. And that is still definitely not a game. Would you call that a game? It's an interactive commercial. It's like, hey, look at our commercial, but it's not a game. So how can Proteus be called a game if that's not even a game?
I don't know. I'm still controlling where I walk.
Because then you're talking about, the intent was not a game, so that's why it's not a game. Because that's just some freaking bullshit right there.
But I don't think it can really be answered. And this is sort of why I brought the topic up, because there is no real...
Then what was... Oh, God.
Because it provided discussion.
On the next episode, does Jesus exist? Like, I mean...
Well...
Does it fucking matter?
I don't know. It's a conundrum, and I'm hoping that we can get some comments.
It's not a conundrum. It's so fucking easy. It's like, no.
But it's not. It's not. I feel just as strongly about it as you do, that it is a game. It falls under the category of a game. It's interactive. It's CG animated shit. Like you're playing in a virtual world.
Okay, let me ask you this: is the Killzone 3 download a game? Killzone 2.
Sure, if you can get your jollies off playing it, whatever. I guess it is a game.
You would call that a game? Okay, so if I give you a DVD where you have the angle button where you can actually change camera angles, does that make it a game now?
No, that was another point. You need to rewind this shit. I said if it's real people involved in it, I don't know, something about it.
Because what you're doing in Proteus, you're manipulating the camera only. That is it. There's nothing else happening, right?
Help me out here.
Hearing music. I mean, whatever. Whatever, I'm done. Whatever.
A little bit of rage there. Anyway, I'm hoping you can get some comments on this and maybe, see what other people think.
Comments on our shit.
Because I think it's a mildly interesting topic.
Try to encourage them.
Yeah, exactly.
Hear that? We're encouraging you.
They're like, why do we care what Shay
Step up today. Be a better person. Comment on this video.
Tell Shay that he's being unnecessarily hateful and not a friendly co-host. I'm just promoting discussion, Shay. That's all.